from forestry, agriculture and fisheries. And that's the discussion that's currently underway and has been for a while. Just having a look at some of the social media responses that are coming up here. Somebody asking, this is Philip Barnes saying, Minister, why are you not visiting Oppermansgronde? I think that's what it's called. I'm not even sure where Oppermansgronde is. We have female entrepreneur winners. They are not getting any support. So let's find out about that. Oppermansgronde. So I've put it out there, Minister. Perhaps you can pay them a visit. They seem to want you or need you in that area. Another one, this is from Jason Seymour saying, I have a commercial dairy manufacturing experience. Who to engage in government to realize mass jobs without a runaround of departments? All right, that's another one here. This one, Kolani saying, you should have also invited people from tertiary institutions that offer agriculture. Perhaps we needed to hear from them. Yeah? Good points, Kolani. Thank you very much for getting back to us. Agri Platform, they write in and they say that South Africa needs commercial farmers. We cannot survive without them. That is a fact, absolutely a fact. And this one, Jason Kankowski, it is not maybe because of the rapid change in technology that the youth have lost interest in the field of agriculture. Very good point. It really is, Jason. Thanks for bringing that up. Perhaps the Minister can address that. Technology and agriculture, perhaps this is losing it. And then finally, this is from Lorato Tsenkeng writing and saying, Nomzamo Khoza, there's so much potential in the soil, hence I left chartered accountancy for commercial farming. All right, he's just quoting one of the guests that we've got here. And this one, again, Golani writing, the youth must stop focusing only on studying for office jobs. They must also be encouraged to study agriculture. He's so right. All right, so those are just a couple of the comments coming in from viewers. Peter, let's go back to you.
Leanne, thank you very much indeed, and a very warm welcome back to Helderfontein. And we are continuing with that conversation. Well, let's put those comments and those thoughts through to Minister, and perhaps some of our panel members can react to that as well. Minister, you're not visiting Oppermansgronde.
You don't need to worry. It's Oppermansgronde. The MEC of the Northern Cape and Free State are here. What they're basically saying is, I must come home more often. Close to the Northern Cape. I unfortunately now have to traverse the entire country as well as the continent and the globe. But certainly, Oppermansgronde, if I do not get there soon, I'll send 2 MECs. They are here, both the MEC of Free State and the MEC of Northern Cape. Oppermansgronde straddles the Free State and the Northern Cape.
All right.
The youth, yes. Agriculture is not just about crop production or growing crops. It's animal husbandry, fishing, aquaculture. But there's also scientists. We do not have black scientists in agriculture. We have a shortage of vets. So for those who think that they don't want to get their hands dirty, there's also the science of agriculture. There's the business of agriculture. We run a very good agriculture research station at the ARC. We then are encouraging the youth to study agriculture. Because if the generation of farmers are getting older, who is going to replace them? It means the knowledge which they carry is diminishing and it is dying very slowly. The science of agriculture hasn't been emphasized adequately. I had to realize that you even get vets for fishing, and that there's only one vet in the country who is a qualified vet for fishers. Now, that's an opportunity. We do offer bursaries. I'm going to repeat, it's COSMIN, COSMIN, at gov.za. So please, it's on our website. The youth are techno-savvy. Technology is becoming so integral to agriculture. It is no longer an underdeveloped enterprise. It's a highly sophisticated enterprise. Likewise, fishing is not just going out with a boat and catching fish. Fortunately, South Africans have woken up to the fact that we need sustainable and really environmentally free and protective, sustainable agriculture and fisheries. There are certain species now that we study. Just the studying of different species of fish is also very critical for the youth. I'm happy that the youth can be re-energized into agriculture. We have to decide as a nation, and we must commit ourselves to protecting our commercial farmers. They're becoming fewer, and we cannot afford to live without them. They have an integral role to play. Hence, government is setting aside 1.3 billion for commercial farmers to really reinvigorize their businesses.
All right, okay. Well, following on some of the thoughts that you've shared with us, let's go to table number 17. Jaritha, is that Crib or Crib? Crib? Table number 17. Yeah. Stand up and say your name properly because I've probably slaughtered it.
Yes, I'm Rita Grip from the Western Cape, and I'm a flower farmer. Now, what I would like to know, what contribution does the government make towards the development or the developing of new fynbos varieties for the export market, for us to become a leader in that field? Because the fynbos is our God-given inheritance.
Minister?
We need to have a broader spectrum of farmers doing fynbos. There are cooperatives that we have established to do farming on fynbos. The research that we're doing in the Western Cape on fynbos should be made available to more communities. The Western Cape Department of Agriculture is doing quite significant work. Then the Department of Science and Technology is assisting us with research on indigenous knowledge and indigenous cultures. I would encourage you to contact the Western Cape Department of Agriculture so that they can support you, as well as the Department of Science and Technology and the DTI. I said earlier, the DTI offers grants of 350,000 Rand per cooperative. That's just startup capital.
All right, there's a question I'm going to ask Joe to ask just now. But Pansy, whilst you're here, the Minister said that Total has played a huge role with the department in terms of supporting agriculture. What role can corporates play in furthering the stories of the Nomzamos and the Nombutles? I guess beyond just awards, actual hardcore financing, etc., etc. What can corporates do? How can they contribute, in your view?
I think sponsorship is just not about money. It's about support. It's about developing institutional knowledge that gives robust planning. If you look at the women who are here, they've worked at their plans. They've put together business plans. They've executed business plans. Just farming on a day-to-day basis is not enough. What we have learned over the years is that the farmers need support. They need support from financial support, from skills and development. They need to be supported along the way in the development of their business. If you think about it, if you start from being a backyard farmer to being a commercial farmer, you need different skills to be doing that. And business, as well as banks, as well as other institutions, should make themselves available to come into the fold in terms of supporting the value chain that these farmers need. I think that if you look at Total, we started off just doing a simple donation towards what was prize giving. We've evolved over time in getting involved in this initiative in terms of giving not just money, but our time, investing our resources in terms of supporting the initiative as a whole. And I think that if a business could look beyond just giving out money and give meaningful support and have an interest in terms of where and how their money are spent, that would go a long way.
Okay. Praline, you were nodding throughout that. What kind of support has made the difference for you?
Ons was 3 keer gehelp die afgelope 2 jaar deur die CPEX.
Oh, ek kan nie praat die taal.
We'll translate.
Okay.
We'll translate.
Ons was 3 keer gehelp die afgelope 2 jaar deur CPEX. En dit het vir ons 'n beter boost gegee om groter te kan saai. Want insetkoste is besig om die kommersiële boere daar buitekant dood te maak. En as gevolg van dit het dit vir ons daardie kapasiteit gegee om groter te kan saai. Ons is huidiglik vir 33 jaar gestasioneer op hiergrond. Ons hier die grootste gedeelte van Elim se landbougronde en ons grootste uitdaging op hierdie oomblik is ons eie plaas. Want ons het die kapasiteit om groter te gaan. Maar omdat ons nog nie op hierdie stadium self kon 'n plaas koop nie, want 'n plaas in ons omgewing gaan vir 24 miljoen. En op hierdie stadium het ons nie daardie geld nie, maar ons het die kapasiteit om groter te kan boer.
Okay, so
She grows and plants in an area called Elim. It's a Moravian mission station, so the land belongs to the church. And the common problem for all black farmers is the ownership of land. And land, she says, in that area is extremely expensive. They've been assisted 3 times over the year. And through the assistance, technical assistance and support and training, financial support, they've been able to expand their businesses. But the ownership of land is her biggest concern. So she's received support, but she hasn't reached her maximum potential, and she believes that with further assistance, she'll be able to grow even bigger.
that land ownership has come up, and I think let's just discuss that now whilst it's there, because this is a big thing, particularly for women. With the cultural setups that we have, tradition, cultures, and so on and so forth, that women find it difficult, even despite dealing with the whole legal systems, but also culturally, ownership of land. How do we address this? And yet, they're the ones doing a lot of the farming.
The beautiful success story about agriculture is that the table I'm looking at directly to my right. You'll see 6 women sitting there, and they're all MECs for agriculture. Men in agriculture as MECs or politicians, they're a little bit very scarce, And the wonderful thing about the men in agriculture is that they've asked me when I'm going to have a Men in Agriculture award as well, because they're feeling threatened. So the women in the provinces, our MECs, our political leaders, are also, more often than not, the MECs for land reform and rural development. So we've been able to combine the elements of access to land with successful agricultural practices. As a government, we've procured land, and our land reform programs were compromised because we didn't give farmers access to finance, support through finance, support through market access, and through support through skills training. Now with this integrated approach, where different departments come together, if the Department of Land gives you land, agriculture comes on board to assist you with the actual production practices. Our young lady, we have discussed input costs are too expensive. And input costs will determine what we do on the land. South Africa has prime agricultural land that is lying underutilized. We need, by intervening through planting and Fetsatlala will put 1 million hectares of unused prime agricultural land back into production again. The land question in this country must be solved in a very circumspect manner. We cannot politicize the ownership of land at the level where it becomes a hostile trading commodity. South Africa belongs to all who live in it, black and white. But the majority of black people do need to own land. And again, the dispossessed need access to land, but also access to successful agriculture.
Okay.
That must be solved.
All right. I'm going to ask all of our tables now to rush through their questions so we can get through as many as possible. But Joe, Pierre, table number 19, I'd like you to ask question 2 because I think that's quite important, and this is one that's coming through quite a lot of people. Joe, on table number 19.
Thank you. My name is Joemat-Pettersson. I'm a farmer from the West Rand. My biggest concern is that, the department does so much for us farmers, but it's so little because we're so diversified and we're so many. How could it be that the government, especially the Department of Agriculture, approaches banks and all other financiers, particularly other government financiers like the DTI and so on, to relax the stringent requirements when it comes to loans? Not that, they should give us, just free, but, relax them a bit, because, some of the conditions that they put forward, are really not achievable because of the legacies that we all carry from the past, and the like. Thank you.
Finance.
Agreed.
All right, so finance is a big thing.
I'm in total agreement.
Yeah.
The Land Bank now has a better loan facility. Previously, you had to fill in 110 different forms before you could get money to Land Bank. It would take you 3 years before they'll even respond to you. So we've cut down on the application and red tape. We have cut down on the interest rates. Land Bank was lending money at prime +5. They can now lend money at prime -3.
Wow, okay. On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll try and get through as many of your tweets and as many of the questions that we have here from the floor. And don't forget, we're speaking about agriculture, forestry and fisheries on the program this morning. Stay with us.